Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this morning's special Jobtrain client-only session on Job Board Marketplace. It's a feature we've had for a little while now, and we have been delighted to partner with VONQ in order to deliver this technology within Jobtrain. And we thought it'd be a great opportunity to have a little bit about a chat about the overall candidate market at the moment, around advertising, and then a little bit more practically about how Job Board Marketplace can help you, our clients, to reach as wide a diverse pool of candidates as possible, and also save a whole bunch of hassle around things like job board contracts, having to fill out different forms for advertising, all that kind of stuff. But we'll get into that in a little while. Before we get started this morning, can I just check that everybody can see and hear us? Should be able to see three of us on screen. You should be able to hear me rattling away. So if you could just pop something in the chat to say you can hear us okay, and we will get started. Great. Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Laura. Super. All right. Thanks, Catherine. So we will get started. And you'll see some real live people behind me. We are on the work. I'm in Jobtrain HQ today. So yeah, we've got people in after the bank holiday weekend. I hope all of you had a really good weekend too. So let's get cracking. So I'm Giles. I'm Director of Strategic Development here at Jobtrain. One of my roles here at Jobtrain is to look after all of our alliance partners. So I have an exciting role of going out, talking to and engaging with potential partners that can further enhance the Jobtrain solution and provide solutions to some of the challenges that our clients have. So I'm joined this morning, and thank you both, with Machi and also with Joran from VONQ, who provide the technology platform that we've integrated with to deliver the job board marketplace. Joran and I have known one another for quite a few years now, and it's taken a little while before we got as far as working with you, but we're delighted to be partnered with VONQ to deliver job board marketplace for our customers. Machi, do you want to go first and give everybody a quick introduction to you?
Yeah, sure. My name is Maciej. I'm located in Poland, born and raised, and I've been with VONQ for a staggering 2 months. It's a fairly new journey for me, but I've been in this industry for like 7 or 8 years now. And my background is before that kind of more technical, leading tech teams and CS teams and support teams in tech companies. That's me in a nutshell. Yeah, nice and sunny here in Poland. I don't know what's the weather there in the UK. I've met with
It's not
Giles.
raining.
It's not raining. Oh yeah, I've had the opportunity to meet with Giles in person some time ago in Manchester. It was the weather was beautiful. It was amazing.
Yeah, that's the big lie.
Yeah. But it's good to hear that it's not raining. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. Jordan, over to you.
Thanks, Machi. Hi everyone. I'm Joran. Been with VONQ for almost 7 years. I'm leading partnerships at VONQ, which means that my team is managing all the different relationships that we have with other recruitment technology providers to solve, all sorts of recruitment challenges. And I've been also responsible for developing this product that we have been delivering to Jobtrain and its customers. And I'm really delighted to be here and speak with you all to discuss on how we can add value and how this solves certain challenges. Thank you.
Thanks, Joran. And Joran, where are you this morning? So Maciej's in Poland. I'm here I'm not going to go as far as say sunny Manchester, but dry Manchester. Where are you?
I'm in Aruba.
Oh, you've gone back. Okay, brilliant.
Yes.
I just wanted to say, do not ask Joran about the weather, right? Because we're all really jealous right now.
Yeah. So for everybody's benefit here, Joran lived in Aruba for some time, and we would have chats together via video, and almost wish that I didn't, because he had an office, and behind him in the office, all you could see was palm trees on the beach directly outside his office. It's enough to make you sick. I'm glad you saved palm trees.
Giles.
Joran, would you like to start just by giving everybody a bit more of an overview of, who are you and what do you do?
Yes, of course. So VONQ is a I think almost 18-year-old company. We started off as a traditional recruitment media agency, consulting customers on where to best place their job ads. Fast forward to today, we have converted or transformed ourselves into a job distribution technology. We have around 1,500 customers globally, and work with different ATSs to deliver job distribution technology and capabilities. We also do media buying, and we do that directly with customers, but also through our partners such as Jobtrain.
Thank you very much. And in terms of this morning's chat, I thought it would be really helpful just to get a bit of an overview from the both of you in terms of how you see the market at the moment and what are the particular challenges or patterns that you're seeing right now.
So what we've been noticing as of late, the market has changed dramatically. Because it used to be, I do have this kind of good anecdote that 30 years ago, looking for a job looked like this, right? People were going and leaving their curriculum or speaking, right? Later it changed to this, and people started using newspapers and browsing through job offers there. Then suddenly it was just this, it was typing, right? It was all the job boards and the first looking for a job on the computer, and right now it looks like that. So that's the first major change, that most of the traffic on job boards comes actually from mobile phones. I don't know if you agree with this anecdote, but I find it quite on point.
Yeah, I like the description, but I also like all the animations behind it as well. If you practice those.
Of course, yeah. It's been 15 minutes since I've done it here. Took me a while to learn, but that's the gist. I mean, we're living in a world that's right now the attention span of potential candidates is getting shorter and shorter. Even platforms like Snapchat or TikTok, everything needs to be short, concise. The job description is going to be too long. If the application process is too long and arduous, you're going to lose candidates. So we're moving into this kind of fast-moving candidates market, and it's visible everywhere.
Yeah, I definitely.
If I may add, so job seekers, right? So most of them, most of the potential is actually not active, right? They are not actively looking for a job, but they need to be. They need to be triggered, right, in another way, because they are probably not looking on a job board only, or they're not looking at all. So what we see in the market is that roughly, of your total potential, roughly 30% of the candidates are actually actively looking for a job. So they would be going to a Total Jobs, for example, or a Read to find their next opportunity. But there's also a huge bunch of people that would be potentially interested in working for you, but are not actively looking. And of course, the big question is how through advertising can you also actually reach that 70% of passive candidates?
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's certainly, I mean, in the world of the internet, we're constantly bombarded with emails, notifications on our phones and all the rest of it. And it's a real battle and from an employee perspective for visibility and attention. And being an ex-recruiter myself, the passive candidates are the ones that we really want to try and tap into, connect with, engage with, because quite often we've always taught that they're potentially the strongest candidates in the market, or potential candidates in the market, I might add.
And the journey for attracting those is a little bit different, right? Because you have to go through like a real sales cycle with your candidates. Like you have to go from the awareness stage, because they might not be aware unless you are a huge company, or IBM, or Microsoft, right, or Google. Your brand might not be known, but then you have to get them down the funnel even before the application process, and it takes time. So it's usually it might not be just one touch point. That somebody just sees an advert, right, and they suddenly apply, because this is about the decision of changing a job. You don't do it on a whim, right? It takes some time. You need to speak with your close ones, right? You need to check, what's the kind of notice periods you have. Do you really want to change the job? Like, there are so many things to consider that the process is a lot more complicated than purchasing something small. So it's important to have this kind of omni-channel strategy, right? You need to be visible. You have to be like, on top of people's minds in order to actually attract those candidates, passive and active. Because even if you have an active candidate you want to attract, you want to hire a person, then you're competing against so many companies, right, with different strategies that you need to stand out. So that's quite important. And what it means is that the world is changing, but just as I said, people just going on their phones, right? This is a slide this is a very fun piece of data that people scroll more than one Statue of Liberty every day. I love the American kind of counting things in football fields, stuff like this. But it's a good example because how the market is changing is that we went from quality to quantity, and then we're coming back to quality again. It's not about having all the jobs job board aggregators, Indeed, having everything packed, right? Or the crawlers from Google taking jobs from every job boards and indexing them. It's actually about having the quality of the job out to attract correct people. I don't know if you agree, guys, but this is what we've seen so far.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess one of the big challenges for all of us when we look at job board advertising is that, we all know the major job boards, and we look at the UK market, the very specific ones. Some of these have been mentioned already, like Indeed, Total Jobs, LinkedIn, read.co.uk, CV Library, these types of sources. But for a long time now, it's almost been a bit of a case of post and pray. There's been very little intelligence or data to inform people that are looking to advertise. Well, where should I be advertising? Where should I be spending my money? And I think that's something we'll probably touch on today, won't we?
Yeah, correct. And talking about Indeed, this is one of the major changes that's happening right now, because Indeed, as of May this year, right, from a week ago, they actually blocked third-party companies from posting organic traffic. So the free job boards. And the reason for this is they're competing against Google, which is has a lot of bigger reach, but they want to concentrate on the quality. It has the market has become kind of frantic. What are we going to do? We kind of just post every job and just send them to an XML feed. What are we going to do now? But it's a risky choice from them, but the quality is something they're looking into. And the same goes with Reed, for example, right? They're actually going to be having tiered kind of 3 tiers of advertising. So if you're a direct employer, your ads are going to be more proliferated, right? They're going to be more seen. You're going to get more clicks. You're going to get more candidates. But if you're an agency posting, 150 jobs a day, and or you're doing it for a third party, then you're going to go down to the bottom of the list to tier 3. What's good is that we're actually in tier 1 as VONQ with Reed. So we're being treated because we're publishing. We're helping you as your customers, like your Jobtrain's customers, to publish, and we're treated as direct employers. So this is fun. So Reed has started delivering some good results.
Yeah, so that's a really big change. It's a very good news for employers that they're now not competing to the same degree with recruitment agencies who, you said, posting, huge volumes of job adverts out there all the time. And can I ask you, so this might come on the next slide, but sort of what is, if we look at the audience or reaching an audience between active and passive candidates, what does that look like, so people understand the different sources that might lend themselves towards reaching passive candidates versus active candidates?
Jorn, you want to take this one?
Yeah, but can you go to the next slide?
I think we've got a slide for that.
Of course we do. But I think I could just select a slide that I want to present. So let me just click really quick.
Yeah, this one. No,
we go.
Oh, okay. Back. Okay.
There we go. Yeah. So how you can think of this, right, is that you have the typical job boards or maybe job board aggregators. So we would include an Indeed or a Reed or a Total Jobs there, and we assume that people are going there to actually look for a job. So that's what we mean with active. And then we have destinations or websites that also have or serve other purposes than only jobs. It could be a newspaper, it could be an IT blog, it could be a news website on the latest gaming trends. But next to that information, they also have a job board section, a section where you can browse jobs. And what these websites are very good at is, of course, promoting these jobs to an audience that's very tailored, right? IT people or journalists or scientists, potentially also looking for a job, but are what we would say passive. And this would also include, in our vision, also social media, such as Instagram or Facebook, because people are not necessarily going on Instagram or Facebook to look for a job. But as the audience is present, you can promote jobs and therefore reach them, or maybe not even promote your job, but also promoting your employer brand.
Very good. Thank you.
What's really interesting is that we always leave a digital trail behind us. So, it's a bit scary, because have you ever had a situation that you went to a store, right? Let's say you went to a store, you didn't buy anything, right? You didn't use your credit card, right? You were just browsing for stuff. You leave the store, right? During the evening, having a glass of wine, you're browsing through, let's say, Facebook, right? And suddenly you see the ad of the store. Has it ever happened to you? Do you know why? Because if you have your GPS on and you're in the location of the store and you've spent, let's say, a minute more than the average person does in that store, then you're eligible to be shown the ad. So this kind of like a digital trade. So, for example, having your cookies. If you visit certain websites and those websites are of a specific industry or specific subjects, right? Then the content you're being shown on very many websites is actually tailored to what you have in your cookie, so what your browser stores. So it's super scary, right? I laughed, Siri laughed, Cortana laughed, right? And everybody else. But as homework, what I do recommend is watching a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it, because it actually shows how advertising and targeting on social media works. It's super scary, right? I know that we, like in this industry, in recruitment, we use this power for good, and we don't go to the dark side of the force. But it's a super scary move. I do recommend showing this to, like, if you have teenager kids, right? I do recommend showing this, because it's
So Giles, were you actually aware that, for example, ResearchGate or The Guardian also have a job section?
Not all of those, but some of those, yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. But in terms of retargeting, it is quite scary. So I was chatting with friends over the weekend. They were expecting a new car to be delivered from a car dealership that I won't name on here because it's not fair, but they haven't done a very good job. Car turned up with scratches on it. So there's been a lot of discussion over the weekend about this car dealership. And since that time, I'm going through Facebook, through Twitter, and I'm being served adverts for that car group. That scares me.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But we haven't got to give people nightmares. But it's really interesting to understand how retargeting works in terms of serving up adverts on social media platforms and where we are, based on where we are, and that kind of thing.
But what you already mentioned is, like, and also the multi-channel kind of, like, the omni-channel strategy, because you have different sections, different job boards, different sites, different communities, forums, social media, to actually leverage in order to get your candidates in. So with VONQ, we have it says 2,500 media channels. It depends on which document you use and how you bundle it, but this is more or less what's available in the store to be used, like, off the bat with Jobtrain. So do you want to, like, talk this slide through?
So in other words, you have access to 2,500 different media channels. You have negotiated, discounted agreements with a lot of those channels as well. And through doing that, you can allow users in the Jobtrain platform to actually access that number of sources. But that in itself, that's quite overwhelming. It's quite useful actually for me to see, and probably maybe for here to see the breakdown in terms of generic job boards, those that are niche channels, community, social media, search, display, and diversity, and so on and so forth. But the whole idea of having access to 2,500 different channels it blows my mind a little bit in terms of, well, where do I start? How do I know where to post to? That's quite overwhelming.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's overwhelming, and luckily, you don't have to use all these different channels. I think first of all, it's good to mention that there is also a lot of channels that we offer that are, for example, outside of the UK. So we also have, job boards in the Netherlands or in Germany or in the US. So if you are looking to recruit abroad, we also have a bunch of channels that you can use. But if you're hiring in the UK, then obviously the list is also shorter. But I think what we want to say with this slide is that you as a recruiter or hiring manager or talent acquisition in the talent acquisition space, you have many different options, and we would like to encourage you, right, to also try different flavors for different options next to the typical job boards that you might already use, such as a Total Job or Read. That can actually deliver a lot of value, but maybe not for all your jobs, and maybe not for certain jobs in certain regions or for a very specific audience. And if you would, what we typically see is that on the more typical job boards such as Read or Total Jobs, you can typically get quite a lot of applicants in, but the quality is not always that great. And on these niche channels, you can imagine that maybe the traffic, the overall traffic on that website is much lower than, for example, on an Indeed or on a Read. But the audience is a much bigger fit because only IT people go there or only scientists go there. So if you have someone that applies from a niche channel, such as DICE, then typically the quality is a lot higher.
Yeah, I think we're kind of all, and I think I've been guilty of this as well in terms of we always look for quantity. If we're hiring for a position and we advertise it, we've always got an eye on the volumes of candidates that have applied for that role. But sometimes the saying is true that quantity is vanity, but quality is sanity. But it's just making that leap of faith to explore channels where you may not get as many candidates, but the quality and the relevance of them is going to be far improved.
And it's also about just testing, trial and error. You can test out, it might work for one company, it might not work for the other one, but it's just getting and trying new routes. It's quite important to test it out because we're people are creatures of habit, right? And we're used to doing one thing over and over. But if we are not getting the results we have, it's just good to browse in. Let's see what's out there, right? Read through, see if there's something that we haven't used before. So this is what we usually try to advertise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say. See, we recognise that for all of the Jobtrain users, through Jobtrain we give you access to quite a wide range of free sources, like all Indeed's free listings, LinkedIn, Antuna, Talent.com, Google for Jobs, that kind of stuff, and that's really important, and it will deliver candidate flow through to you. But that said, and also quite a few of the people on this session may also have contracts possibly with more generic job boards or the mainstream job boards like a Total Jobs or a Read. But there are going to be times where you're looking to recruit potentially out of the norm, or perhaps you don't have a job board contract. And this is probably where we start talking about job board marketplace and the real benefits it can offer. Or you may only have one job board contract, but you want to look at advertising a role across a few different sources. And I think that's when we'll probably start to get into talking about things like some of the bundles that are on offer via Job Board Marketplace as well. So, Joran, over to you in terms of, or perhaps you, Maciej, in terms of explaining. So, how does VONQ work with Jobtrain, and how does the platform work in terms of making recommendations or helping people to understand where they should be advertising their roles?
Yeah, so I can take this on. Like, I'm still learning, so it would be a good practice for me. But I hope that most of you have had the chance to actually see this in the system. I'm going to demo it in a second. But why the partnership? Like, why do we think it's really important to have partnerships like this with Jobtrain? Because it's all about the ease of use, right? You want to have everything in your system. You want to have everything in one place. It should be easy. You should have access to thousands of job boards, and for each each company, even if you're huge like NHS or you're huge like IBM, you still need to manage all the contracts, and you have to get some purchase from each side separately, which becomes very difficult to manage. So one thing is, like, if you don't know which job boards work the best, if you don't have a place where you can browse for it, I'm starting from number 5 here and going down to 1. So if you don't know where to look, right, you don't have a list. You can have a list of job boards, but probably you won't find every job board there. So we think that having this in one place just makes it easier to experiment a little bit. Then if you have any kind of media spending commitments, right? So in this case, maybe you have some budget that you can use, right? But you want to try something new as well. You can see all the prices in one basket, right? So you can track all the invoices. You can have the management of this in one place. You can see all the orders. You can see all the performance of the jobs. I'm going to showcase this in a second. You can see what's the cost per click, right? So how many clicks did I get from this particular job board or this bundle or this campaign? How many applicants went through? So the central management, instead of going to each website separately and then ordering singular jobs on different job boards, I mean, it's just too many platforms to go through on very many occasions. And juggling the media contracts and multiple vendors, I mean, to us, we think that's why this should be something that might be interesting. Hence, we have the webinar.
Yeah. So Maciej, if I may chip in. So on number 5, so I can imagine that if you are, just an example, if you're an organization in healthcare, that you probably know very well where to find healthcare workers, because that's the core of the organization, and you probably know on which job boards work for finding these, if any. But it's also important to understand that in a healthcare organization, but also in other types of organization, you're also hiring maybe for a marketer or for a legal counsel or a business controller. And you might not know where to find these people. So that's where the job board marketplace comes in, because it allows you to find maybe niche channels in these areas, or to at least experiment with other job boards to see if other channels are maybe a better fit for these audiences that you don't typically hire. On number 4, with the media spending commitment. So what we typically see is that, with 1 or 2 or 3 job boards, companies have fixed agreements where you buy a certain amount of credits, at the start of the year or start of the budget year. And sometimes, you run out of credits, maybe already half time, during the agreement, or after 6 months, or sometimes, the hiring plan changes, and suddenly you're not hiring for 50 roles, but only 20, and then you might end up with too many credits that you need to write off, or hopefully in a renegotiation with the job board can take with you into a new agreement. And the job board marketplace allows you to only spend the money on advertising on when you actually need it, when you actually have a job. So it can help you find a better balance to fixed arrangements, with certain key job boards, that you always want to use. And we also encourage you not to just terminate them. Please keep them, right? But it can allow you to think more consciously about it and see whether you might reduce some of that commitment and spend that money in a more flexible way on different types of job boards or social media channels or niche channels that you can find in the marketplace.
Well, that's really helpful, Joran. So from a practical perspective within Jobtrain, what does that look like?
Right, so I think it's stop, demo time. Let me just let me just change what I'm presenting. Bear with me for a sec. Let me share my screen with you.
For everybody on this morning session, I think you're taking this through demonstration maybe on the JTGO platform, which is pretty much the same as Jobtrain. There is a slide, we've made a slight change with the Jobtrain to make the job board marketplace even more accessible and clear for users. And we've got a couple of screenshots we'll share with you on that. We have made the changes in terms of the view and access to job board marketplace from within Jobtrain. But I think Maciej is going to go through just a quick overview from a JTGO perspective, and then we'll show you screenshots from a Jobtrain perspective.
Yeah, and bear in mind that this is a sandbox environment, so things might be not exactly as they are. So this is just for our internal testing. I won't be posting any jobs in the for VONQ or for Jobtrain or for any V. So as you can sometimes see in the mirrors, like objects might appear closer, right? So here things might be a bit different than in a production and live environment. But just to go through this real quick, when you just this is the standard screen that you see the first time. So if you go to jobs, right, you can see which jobs you have active, and what's important is that you have to have an active job in order to advertise against it. So these are some jobs we created just for testing purposes some time ago. But let's go to say carry worker, right? You know the screen better than I. You're working with the system on a daily basis. But in order to go to reach the marketplace, at least in this instance, but they want to show some print screens of the new user interface. You go to edit job. Yes, and you have to post the job here, right on the right. So this is the last step. So you have the job board marketplace here enabled, where you can manage the advertising. So before we go to the posting itself, let me show you how it looks. You can see all the campaigns that have been ordered. So you can see what's the status. Of course, all of those are in progress. As I said, this is just a test environment, so we don't have any campaigns live. That's why you won't see any applications, clicks, or cost per click. You do see the cost, of course. So you can go and see oh, okay, we've published this to LinkedIn, right? With job posting plus a sponsored recruitment app. So maybe there are some other ones that we can see. Maybe this one is also LinkedIn, very popular platform. Oh, this is the job matrix. So you will see you can have several campaigns or in one order. So let's say you want to buy a bundle, right? You want to go for, I don't know, UK healthcare bundle to publish to 3 or 4 job boards at once. You will see, of course, the job advert and the applications here per singular job board, which is quite important for tracking the success, right, and the performance of those. If you have any questions, by the way, your chat, feel free to ping them in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer them as we go. So this is the overview of the campaigns that you have. But you probably want to create a new campaign because you're looking for a care worker. You're going to click on create new campaign. So the location, yeah, let's go with London. Let's go with London, and we're looking for a care worker. So when you're filling in this data, VONQ is going to try to map out the best job boards and recommended job boards for you to use. So what you see here first is the recommendation channel. So in this case, it's a British Institute of Radiology. I was just laughing that it might necessarily be the one for a care worker, but the inventory that you're seeing here is slightly different to what is in the production environment, which means it's slightly different to what you see in the real system, because there are some bundles we have introduced. I'm going to show them later in the slide that should appear here, but well, they actually don't. But you have different options, right, that you can browse through. You have some job boards like the standard ones that are presented. You have some niche job boards, and you have some social job boards that are usually first to be recommended within the marketplace. So, like, you can browse through, like, and scroll down. Maybe you want to, I don't know, go to this and publish this on CV Library. You can, of course, click on the job, on the offer, and read about the job board itself. And we also have, like, of course, locations, like industry. What's important that we always show the delivery time. Now, this is an estimation. It doesn't mean that the job will go live on CV Library after 72 hours. It's just some job boards work faster, some work slower. The usual is about 24 hours from clicking, from clicking publishing to having the job actually on the job board. And it does, of course, varies, right? So, for total jobs, maybe, it's 48 hours. If it's your first order for total jobs, but probably it's not, it might take a bit longer because, like, an account needs to be set up. So you have everything written here. If you have any questions about job boards, you can always reach to your, customer success manager at Jobtrain. Am I correct, Jonas? With any
Yeah,
questions?
that's absolutely right. Yeah, Machi, we've got a question. I want for either you or Joran, you can pick up on it. Morgan, thanks for your question. So the question is, what feeds the data-driven recommendations? Is it down to the partnership commissions that you have, or is it based on specific data on the job title you search? So can you elaborate on what it's based on?
Yeah,
Joran, you want to take it?
I will answer that. So we have a couple of data points that we look at in order to provide relevant job boards or relevant destinations for you to potentially advertise on. So one is what we would call sales popularity. So that means that across all our customers and partners, we look at which job boards have been purchased for similar job titles in similar regions. So let's assume, right, that a certain job board would pop up for a PHP developer. Then we look at, right, how many times has that job board been purchased in similar instances. So that's one. Two is actually the performance of the job boards. So we look at click data. So we look at, do we have similar campaigns or similar jobs, that have been using these job boards, and how have these job boards been performing? There are also instances where we don't have a lot of data because they either are new in our inventory, or they just haven't been purchased much, or they have been purchased much, but for other types of jobs. And then we fall back on what we would call our own internal classification. And that means that we have a job board a team that for each product that gets added to the store shows, classifies the job boards against certain taxonomies, for example, location, industry, job function, etc. We don't, for example, have a lot of customers in Japan, and also don't have a lot of job boards in Japan. So, I would also be the first one to admit that, for example, the results in Japan, right, would fall back on our typical classification because there's not a lot of data generated there. And then lastly, what we do have in the recommendation engine is a couple of job board bundles, and we put them on top because we want to show you as a user and customer some attractive options to get discounted rates if you would buy a bundle.
That's great. Thank you, Joran. Machi, can I take over the screen share quickly?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just going to, for those of you that have joined us that are using Jobtrain, I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough of what it looks like and how you can access Job Board Marketplace within Jobtrain. So just bear with me. I'm just going to share my screen.
And what's important as well is, like, if there's a job board that is missing from the portfolio, right, you can search through the product name as well. And you can find this job board in the system. You can always contact your customer success manager at Jobtrain, and they can submit a request. Right? We have lots of partners, lots of end customers, and we always take a look. And we love to increase the inventory. Of course, there's a there's a roadmap, and we look into whether the job board is possible to integrate with or not. There are several factors that we take into consideration. But yeah, it's always good to increase the portfolio. So if there is any job board missing that you would like to have added, just contact your customer success manager and they will relay this to us, and we'll look into it. So
that's brilliant. Thanks, Machi. So for Jobtrain users, this will look very familiar to you. Click through to jobs. We've got care assistant role here. Go into edit the role. And at any time, you may have gone out to a lot of the free sources. Perhaps it's not delivering the quality that you're looking for. You can, once your job is advertised live, you can see a link through to the job board marketplace down here. Click on there, and then you can simply search for where you're looking to hire. So for example, we'll use Manchester just because we're nice and local within here. So you select Manchester and the type of role you're looking to hire for. In this case, it's going to be a care assistant. Click continue. And then you'll see a list of, at the very top, bundles that have been recommended. So you can go out to multiple sources, or here, things like Job Rapido, which is a healthcare job posting, and others as well. So it's really simple, straightforward to use. When you've found a source that you like the look of or want to use, including a bundle, you can then simply add it to a basket, which is then displayed up here. And then you can go through and then pay for the job listing. Now, there are different ways in which you can pay for job listings. You can upload and use a credit card if you have a company credit card, a corporate one that you use from time to time. Or if you want to, we can look at adding on almost like credits for you in terms of advertising spend. Or finally, we can then simply invoice you month on month for the credits that you've posted. The beauty of this is you don't need to log into any job boards at all. Once you've selected the credits or the job boards you want to post to, they get posted automatically, and candidates come directly back into the application form when they click through from the job board. And we collect, importantly, all the source data. There are both reports that will give you, within Jobtrain, will give you an idea about where candidates have come from, and it'll give you some idea about sort of volumes and that kind of thing as well. So it's really simple and straightforward to use.
Giles, if I may add in, it's important to mention that we always advertise on behalf of the employer. So the advert, won't have any VONQ naming or branding or styling added to it. So we use, your company name, organization name. We use your logo. It's your job description that we deliver to the job board. So any visitor on the job board won't see or hear anything about VONQ. It's all about you as employer. So I think that's important to mention. And then Giles, a question to you. So how do people get access to this?
It's really simple. It's if some of you, I think, on the call may have contacted or been in contact with your CIC, your continuous improvement consultant. If you're interested in accessing Job Board Marketplace, I think Claire just jumped in there. Thank you very much, Claire. Get in touch with your continuous improvement consultant. We just simply activate Job Board Marketplace for you, but we can also have a chat with you about how best you want to go around invoicing for any credits that you do as well. I know that you've got a couple more slides, including, I think there's a free offer in there as well, isn't there? So I'm going to go on mute because we are in a live office environment here at Jobtrain, and I do have a lovely colleague next to me who's chatting away, and I don't want that to interfere with what you guys are saying. So I'm going to pop myself on mute.
Can you highlight the offer that we have?
Yes, of course. But the thing is, I need to click through all of the slides because it doesn't allow me to select. So this is going to be a really quick presentation. Okay, so let's talk about Meet VONQ and then today's fun fact. Sorry, I mean, this is just the limitation of the platform itself. But this deck will become available to you, as I believe, right, James? Afterwards, and Laura.
That's right.
Yeah. So one thing that's that I couldn't showcase in the demo environment is like we do have some new bundles that we've introduced. For example, like job board bundle that's specific to healthcare UK. So you have the jobs medic, right? Total jobs, job rapido for medical personnel. There's also a job board bundle for IT that works very, very well. So feel free to browse the inventory, to check what's out there. And it's always we always provide a discount on those. So I think it's quite it's quite fun. But now to the free offer, what we would like to this is just okay. So what we would like to offer is, if you haven't been using or you have been using the job board marketplace, we would like to offer you a free LinkedIn campaign, like the free LinkedIn job posting light. So free from our side, but that's another free from LinkedIn. It's very easy to use. Like if you choose a vacancy that you want to advertise, go through the job board marketplace. You're gonna see LinkedIn job posting light. When you purchase it, either with an invoice or with a credit card, inform your customer success manager, and we will refund this. So the money should either get back to your credit card within 14 days, or it's going to be like, the invoice will be made null and void. So it's just for you to be able to click through, see how it looks, get to know the system, get to know the marketplace, and we're happy to provide this to all of the customers of Jobtrain. So
yeah, and just some additional information on how this works, right, with LinkedIn. So how this works is that your job, right, will be posted under your company page on LinkedIn. So that means that the job will be attached to your company LinkedIn account, and that's where it will be promoted, and it will be also promoted on the paid job section within LinkedIn to relevant users. So that's how it's being used and how it's being advertised compared to, for example, the free listings on LinkedIn.
If you have any questions afterwards about this, then of course we'll happy to follow up with this procedure and process. But go crazy, do it.
That's brilliant. Thank you both very much. So that covers pretty much the whole of how we've arrived at our partnership with VONQ, how our job board marketplace works, the different sources and the different types of audience it can reach or help you to reach, practically how you can access it and how you can use it, and also a little bit about billing and invoicing things. But before we wrap up today's session, and I hope it's been helpful for everybody, does anybody have any questions? Catherine, I'm glad you found it helpful. We are here to answer any questions you've got, either through CICs, or feel free to reach out to me directly. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you all join us this morning, and big thanks to Machi, and also especially Joran, because believe it or not, when we started this morning session, it's not 11 o'clock in Aruba, it's 6 a.m.
Correct.
I hope you managed to grab a coffee before you started the session. So we're very, very grateful to you.
More than one.
So thank you for getting up so early to join this session.
Of course, it was a pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity and the invitation. And yeah, we're really looking forward to work with you all.
Great. I hope you all have a really good Tuesday. Thank you.
Have a lovely week.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, everybody.